Observation is the second technique in the documentation, observation, and interview process. Observations allow auditors to observe the people, equipment, documents, and environment at a worksite. Audit observations are not detailed inspections. Using the observation checklist, auditors should note general site conditions, as well as levels of compliance with policy and legislation. As an auditor, you're looking for verification of your documentation findings. Have controls been implemented? Are employees using the correct PPE? Are systems being followed? For example, if you have reviewed documentation stating that there is a system to remove defective tools, equipment, or vehicles from service, you will need to verify that this system is being used through your worksite observations. Before you begin the observation portion of the audit, you should review each question and the guidelines for these questions. Pay attention to specific words like posted and all. Let's take a look at the observation checklist and how to complete it. The form itself is straightforward. There are 3 columns for you to fill out. One for observation findings, where you can record your notes, and 2 checkboxes for either positive or negative. Depending on the number of sites you are visiting, you can keep a running total of the positives versus the negatives on one form, or you can photocopy the form and use one for each site. Prior to starting the worksite visits, ask your escort or contact if there is anything you will require. You may be required to have a site orientation, complete specialized training, review applicable legislation, or wear specific PPE. If at any point during the site visit you observe activities that may cause imminent danger to a worker or workers, you should immediately report this to the supervisor in charge. Now, let's look at some examples. Question 1.4 of the ACSA Standard Audit Document asks, is the health and safety policy prominently posted or made available to the worker? The observation portion of this question requires the auditor to see the policy posted in prominent locations, which could include reception, a lunchroom, or field offices. If the auditor cannot see the policy posted, then they would check the negative box for that question for that site. Question 6.3 asks, is the correct PPE used by all employees when required? It is necessary for the auditor to see that required PPE is being worn by all employees. Notice the use of the word all. If the auditor observes any employees failing to wear the required PPE, then they must check the negative box for that question. Question 11.6 asks, are extinguishers regularly inspected and maintained? The observation portion for this question requires the auditors to look at the tags on fire extinguishers and confirm they have been inspected as per the National Fire Protection Association. NFPA 10 requires that fire extinguishers shall be visually inspected approximately every 30 days and maintained annually. Once all the active work sites have been visited, the auditor will total the positives and negatives for each question. For the majority of questions, points will be awarded if the number of positive observations is greater than 50%. So here are your key points to remember about observations. There are some questions that specifically say all. In these questions, 100% of observations must be positive to award points. Ensure you are looking for and recording the correct information for each site visit, and always have a copy of the observation checklist with you during each site visit.